Going. I want to welcome you all. My name is Bill McCallum, CEO and co-founder of IM, and today I'll be joined by the authors of the IM K5 Math Curriculum team in a roundtable celebration. They're going to share their journey, lessons learned, favorite tasks, their hopes for a successful launch. And this is really a truly momentous event, an exciting event for us. Imagine and the impact and empower is our motto for this launch. And we're going to talk a little bit about all of those things. It's the culmination of 10 years of work, a dream come true for those of us here at IM. You know, at IM, our vision is of a world where all learners know, use, and enjoy mathematics. I recently wrote a series of blog posts on what each of those words means. And I want to pause to think about that last word, enjoy. Of course, it's easy for me, a mathematician, to enjoy mathematics, but there are plenty of people who found that their mathematics education, anything but enjoyable. My wife is one of those people. In fact, she had a series of teachers as she moved around the country and a completely incoherent experience as she either missed topics or experienced the same topic twice. So I asked her the other day if she ever enjoyed mathematics. And she said, yes, I like to do recipe conversions in my head. I know I could look them up, but I prefer to do it myself. So this to me is a testament to what I think is a natural tendency to enjoy mathematics. However, many students start school with that tendency, but don't end up that way. And a lot of Black and brown students go through school not seeing themselves in the curriculum. What makes me so excited today is that we have built a curriculum that will enable teachers to create an environment where that natural enjoyment comes to life and is carried forward. I want to take a moment to look back and celebrate that. We started with a 6-8 curriculum that we came out in 2017, and then we came out with a 9-12 curriculum in 2019. With the K5 curriculum, we've achieved our trifecta. We now have a coherent K-12 curriculum aligned to standards, which will prepare students for college and career, and which supports the problem-based instructional model that we know from research best supports student learning. And with the K5 curriculum, we've added some features I'm really proud of. The support for culturally responsive teaching through diverse contexts and teacher reflection questions, new structures such as centers to support the full range of student readiness, and an approach to fluency that will have a truly lasting effect. However, finally, I want to say that although we've come to the end of a momentous journey, this is not an end, but a beginning. We all know that just adopting a curriculum by itself will not achieve the change we want. That curriculum must be enacted in a classroom that enables problem-based instruction practiced by teachers who are supported by opportunities to collaborate and learn. What I like to think of as the IM classroom, something you'll be hearing more about. Ensuring that all students have an opportunity to learn in an IM classroom is the next stage of our journey. So while all the K5 authors could not be here today, we would like to celebrate and acknowledge each of them for their incredible work in creating a truly amazing resource for teachers and students. Our grade level leads, Alex, Sarah, Deborah, Zach, Kanika, and Sarah, were responsible for designing each unit and writing and revising each of the lessons. Our grade span writers and leads, Brianne, Yenchi, Noel, Mike, Mani, and Dion, worked across the grades as thought partners, writers, and reviewers to ensure coherence. As co-founders, IM President Kristen Umland and I also worked as thought partners, reviewers, and checked for coherence across all grade levels. And Kristen Gray did a remarkable job directing both the curriculum and professional learning aspects of the project. To support the work of the writers, we had an incredible team of contractors. They helped to write, review, and revise the activities and centers, create illustrations and images, format and organize the materials, and prepare the curriculum for print and digital productions. They also helped to make available other resources, such as Spanish translations, alt text for the visually impaired, adaptation materials for virtual learning, and more. In addition to our writing and production teams, we had an extraordinary team of advisors whom we leaned on for critical feedback throughout the writing process. Here are some messages from a few of our advisory board members.
My name is Elham Kazemi. I'm a professor of mathematics education at the University of Washington. I just want to congratulate the full IM team for launching this new set of resources. And together, I hope that we can imagine new possibilities as teachers learn with and from their students.
Hi everyone, my name is Tatita Casa, and I'm a faculty member in the NEAG School of Education at the University of Connecticut. And I just wanted to congratulate you on a job really well done. As a curriculum author, I know and can appreciate how much time and effort you've put into developing this new curriculum. The thing that stands out to me is how you are positioning young students to reason mathematically, and the potential impact that you have not only on so many students, but importantly their teachers at the elementary level, who I have seen so often be kind of really surprised and inspired by what it is that their young students can do. So I can just only imagine that the impact that you're going to have through all of this hard work is just going to be immeasurable for years to come. So congratulations once again.
Celebration time. Come on, let's celebrate. Hey guys, it is Tim Livingston. And right now, I am currently the administrator of mathematics learning in one of the oldest schools in the Spring Independent School District in Houston, Texas. I got to see the intimate, sincere thought process to make sure that this curriculum met and exceeded the expectations, right? That illustrative mathematics set. I got to sit in that tension as you guys were, struggling with what representation, what approach, what scaffold, what step would bring a student to this thinking. Like, I got to sit in it, and I was changed, man. I left Dallas changed. So thank you. It's here. You've developed now a curriculum that will engage teachers and students at a whole new level of teaching and learning. You did it. You all did it. Congratulations and thank you.
That was wonderful. At IM, we start with the belief that all students are capable learners. We believe that all students should play with mathematical ideas before formalization, have experiences and ideas that are valuable, can make sense of problems and solve them, can learn grade level mathematics, and learn by interacting with others. We start with these beliefs, and it makes it easier for us to imagine a world where all learners know, use, and enjoy mathematics. So now I'm going to ask some questions for our authors. And the first question is, how do you imagine students and teachers using IM K5 Math? First, we're going to hear from Alex Clayton, our kindergarten lead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alex Clayton. I was the kindergarten lead author for IM K5 Math. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to see these materials out in the world. For so long, we've been working on something that has been exciting, but theoretical and in our minds and in our discussions. And so knowing that these materials are with teachers and students is really so exciting. And the thing that I most imagine and think about while we were working on this project is really thinking about students in classrooms having the time that they need to really grapple with these ideas and think and talk about and play with mathematics in a way that maybe they haven't had the opportunity to do before. And now I'll turn this question over to Deborah.
Hi there, my name is Deborah Peart, and I was the grade 2 lead author for the IM K5 Mathematics curriculum. I'm so excited to be a part of the project and that it is now available for everyone. Something that I imagine, and it's not your typical imagination, because I'm imagining it might be a little hard and it might be met with some apprehension from teachers, but I am confident that as the teachers become familiar with problem-based curriculum and learn to let go of the reins a little bit, the beautiful thing is they're going to see the students lead the way. And as the students become more comfortable and engage in discourse and experience the joy of mathematics, teachers will become believers. And even those of you who already buy in from the very beginning, because we have those faithful followers, you will still be inspired and encouraged when you see students' growth and their shifts in mindsets. You will be forever changed. I know I was. And now, Noelle, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thanks, Deborah. My name is Noelle Conforti-Presler. I've held many roles on the IM K5 math writing team, K5 writer and reviewer and instructional designer, and I'm currently the managing editor of the K5 curriculum. I imagine classrooms full of teachers and students actively and joyfully talking about math. I believe our curriculum provides space and guidance for student thinking and ideas to be honored. That is a key to building a productive mathematical community for all students. Yenchi, I'll pass this question along to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yenchi Tiwanda, and I joined the elementary team as a writer and a reviewer for grades 3 and 4. I also had various other roles across grades K to 5 and was a part of the IM 6-8 and 9-12 teams. In my mind, the IM curriculum is generative. The materials are a bit like seeds being planted in classrooms and in faculty rooms, and to bring the seeds to life would take teachers and students working together, nurturing them and investing in them. And I imagine that with time and with effort and over trials and iterations that the seeds would become more and more fruitful, in the sense that they would foster communities of learners, ones that get stronger and get better over time at engaging with math ideas productively. Back to you, Bill.
Thanks, Yenchi, and thanks everybody. Grade level lead authors Kanika Turner and Sarah Caban are unable to make it today, but they've reflected on this question in the following video messages.
When I sit back and dream about what will take place in classrooms this year, I imagine elementary education with IM. And I can see the genuine curiosity as students engage with new contexts. These new contexts that broaden the view of the world as they know it. And I imagine these same experiences also validating familiar ideas, communities, and customs that these students experience. I imagine teachers feeling empowered as the curriculum supports these connections between mathematical ideas and fosters these meaningful conversations about beliefs between colleagues. And I can see varied representations and hear powerful discourse amongst students and also between students and teachers. I can see the curriculum defining paths through the all too prevalent challenge of making grade level aligned materials available for all learners, and that excites me. When I open my eyes from imagining, I'm lighter and I'm more optimistic and I'm encouraged for the future of math identity for all learners.
Hello, my name is Sarah Caban, and I was the lead writer for grade 5 for IM K5 Math. One of my favorite activities in the grade 5 curriculum is in Unit 1. In Unit 1, students find the volume of right rectangular prisms and solid figures composed of 2 right rectangular prisms. The activity that's my favorite is called Guess My Prism, and it's in Lesson 2 of Unit 1. It's one of my favorites because it exemplifies the intentional design of the curriculum to start each unit and course with an invitation to do the math. When students are playing Guess My Prism, each partner has a pile of 24 connecting cubes, and the partners sit in such a way that they can't see each other's prisms. Partner A takes a certain amount of cubes, builds a rectangular prism, and describes it to partner B. Partner B then has to build the rectangular prism that is being described without seeing it. Finally, the partners place their prisms next to each other and describe what is the same and different. As students are playing this game, the teacher is using a math language routine called collect and display. The teacher is circulating the room, listening for and collecting the language students are using as they describe and compare the rectangular prisms. The teacher is recording these words on a visual display. The teacher and students will refer back to this display throughout the lesson, section, and unit as they connect their informal descriptions of rectangular prisms to more formal math vocabulary. I love this activity because when I think about it, I imagine classrooms all over the country where students are curious about rectangular prisms and excited to share all the connections they're making. And teachers are also curious about how much their students already know and can explain about rectangular prisms during only the second math lesson of 5th grade. And teachers are also excited. They can't wait to build on what their students know and take a deeper dive into Unit 1. I am so grateful for and humbled by the experience of working with so many smart, dedicated, and driven teachers, students, and colleagues over the last 3 years. I hope you all enjoy using the IM curriculum as much as I enjoyed being a part of the incredible team of people who developed it. I'm especially grateful for Sahar Khatri and Dr. Michael Nakamai, who co-wrote Grade 5 with me, and from whom I learned so much.
Wow, what a testament to the tireless efforts of these authors. So next we have a question from the IM community, building on Sarah's sharing of her favorite unit, lesson, or task. What is your favorite unit, lesson, or task, and why? Zach, why don't you start us off?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Zach Hill, grade 3 lead author for IM K5 Math. There's so many lessons to choose from, but my favorite was grade 3, unit 7, lesson 14. And I really enjoyed collaborating and learning with Dion around this lesson and love how it turned out. It starts off with students learning about African wax prints, and then they use what they've learned about quadrilaterals to design their own African wax print pattern. And then they solve problems about using a bundle of wax print fabric that involves area and perimeter. And I really love how the task can serve as a mirror into a culture that some students may be unfamiliar with. And then for other students, it'll serve as a mirror where they can really get a chance to see themselves in the mathematics. Noelle, what was your favorite task?
Oh, it's so hard to choose a favorite task. I think everyone felt this way. I wrote grade 3, unit 6, section D, which is all about the fair. It started as a fun context, but I also learned so much writing these lessons with feedback from Sarah Caban, the 5th grade lead you just heard from. We had such productive conversations around inviting students in to feel like they were at the fair, not just doing math problems about the fair. The revisions to that section over the pilots were so major. It was really wonderful to see and be a part of. As a mathematician, I see math everywhere I go. And I wanted the students to get a taste of that while also sharing a really fun context that I love. What was your favorite task, Genchi?
Like everyone else, I had trouble choosing a task, but there are some warm-up routines that I am partial to. And I'm wondering if it would be possible to advance to the slides that show the activities. It might be helpful to see, but that's Zach's wax print and Noelle's favorite task. So I Notice and Wonder is a warm-up routine that I really like, and I think it's a great way to invite all students into the conversation and to motivate the math work that follows. There's an example there on the left from a unit that introduces the concept of perimeter in grade 3. And another warm-up routine that I like is which one doesn't belong. And it's where students are given 4 images or representations, and then they're asked to identify one that is different or unique and explain why it's unique. And I appreciate this routine because it encourages everyone to look closely at the features of the representations in front of them and to carefully communicate the distinctions that they're seeing. There is a non-warm-up routine that I think is great, and that is the information gap or info gap. And this is a math language routine in which students work in pairs, and one student receives a problem with only partial information given. And in order to solve the problem, they would need to figure out what's missing and ask for it from the other student who holds the missing information. I think this routine really pushes students to make sense of the problem at hand, to attend to precision when asking questions, and to persevere if and when their queries to their partner don't yield the information that they need. I'm gonna pass it to Mike. Mike, what's your favorite task?
Hi, my name is Mike Nakama. I was the mathematician in residence for the K5 IM curriculum project. And I wrote the assessments and the practice problems and made a bunch of images, but I also worked closely as a thought partner with Sarah Caban on writing the 5th grade materials. And the lesson I picked as one of my favorites is actually the very first lesson I wrote for grade 5, which was an exciting memory for me. And this was something about decimals. The context that's used in this lesson is that of the time it takes luge riders to complete the course on their luge. And I mean, maybe you're watching some of the Summer Olympics right now. And if so, I mean, at some point in time, you'll see the sprinters or the swimmers. And a big difference between those races and the luge is that, well, those sprinters, they're all on the track at the same time. You can see who crosses the finish line first. And you can see which swimmer reaches the end of the pool first. But with these luge riders, no, I mean, they're all going separately. So you need to look at their times. Well, how accurately do you want to time them? To the nearest second, to the nearest 10th of a second, 100th of a second, 1000th of a second? It's a big decision to make. And what does that have to do with? It has to do with rounding, right? Because when you're looking at the time to the nearest second, you're rounding it to a certain precision, similar to the 10th of a second and 100th of a second. And as it turns out, what they use for the luge, because they go so fast, is the 1000th of a second. So I love this lesson investigating a real world place where rounding is important. And now I would like to pass things off to my best friend, Deborah, and find out what her favorite task was, or one of her favorite tasks.
Dr. Nakabai always makes me laugh. He actually made us laugh a lot during this time. I'm so excited to be here with him and to learn about the luge from him. So it was hard for me, just like everyone else, to just pick one lesson. So I did cheat a little bit. I chose a lesson that I'm most proud of, and that is the lesson that is using bar graphs to show how we can use tape diagrams to solve compare problems. So this was a moment of revelation, that great connection of providing access to compare problems as a problem type for second graders. Some of the teachers in our pilot were just so struck by it that something so simple just was able to be used to make that connection for them. But now the unit I'm most excited about is the measurement unit. Especially after the revisions on the next slide, you can see that we had contexts that were quite intentional. That's okay, I'm going to keep talking. Contexts that were quite intentional and also provided some windows and mirrors for students into different cultures and different ways of being. We did some measurement of silk sari ribbon, and I'm excited to share that there were connections not only to measurement, but also to the number line. And then we even use base 10 blocks as measuring tools because we discovered that the unit for 1 was actually 1 centimeter. And of course, that means the 10 was a decimeter. So there were lots of great connections that were made. And the students were fully engaged, and will be, because they're measuring tape on the floor, but it represents reptiles, the actual size and length of reptiles. So how exciting, how engaging that we position students to experience measurement in this new way, giving measurement the time and space that it rightfully deserves, because it's not necessarily major work, but the way this is designed, it is doing such a wonderful job of supporting the major work that it's not one that you're going to want to skip. So thank you for sharing that with me. Back to you, Bill.
Thanks a lot, Deborah. And one of the things I want to talk about now is the, one of the wonderful things about having a alpha and a beta pilot is that we don't just have to sort of guess what people are thinking about the curriculum. We have some data to rely on. And so now I'd like to share some video testimonials from some.
My name is Elizabeth Brooks. I teach first grade at McKinley Elementary School in Santa Barbara, California with the Santa Barbara Unified School District. I am here to express my love for the Illustrative Math program. My students are enthusiastic, engaged, and energetic about learning math. I have never seen this before with any math program. When they pair up, they are just sharing ideas, and there's so
Sorry
much
about that.
joy
I'm going to move us right along.
that it's really interesting to see. I've been teaching 25 years, and I highly recommend the Illustrative Math program.
Hi, my name is Kelly Nogar, and I'm a K-5 math coach in Portland, Maine. One thing that I think makes IM's lesson structure really unique is that there are so many opportunities for student discourse that are embedded within it. There's the warm-up instructional routine. During the activities, students are able to talk to a partner or have a group discussion. And then there's the conversation that happens when teachers are facilitating the synthesis questions. This gives students so many opportunities to share their mathematical ideas, and in turn, this gives teachers insight into their students' thinking.
Hello, this is Zoila Garcia. I am teaching intermediate level with Somerton School District in Arizona. Something I love about IM are those routines, the content routines, such as warm-ups, specifically those like notice and wonder, or which one doesn't belong, or the number talks. Those are giving my students lots of opportunities to contribute to the mathematical discussion. I noticed that they feel at ease talking about the concepts, and also gives me a lot of opportunities to assess their content needs, their language needs, or even some misconceptions. Thank you, IM, for this opportunity.
So the next question for our authors is, what do you hope for the curriculum's impact on teaching and learning?
I'll start us off. My name is Dion Aminata. I am the grades 2 through 5 lead for the curriculum writing process, and I am very, very hopeful. I hope that this curriculum has an impact that has a lasting effect on teachers and students. I hope that students make new connections to mathematics and the world that surrounds them. What that means, I believe they will be able to see themselves in the curriculum, and we've taken a lot of care into asking questions of students and having students' ideas be the focus of each and every lesson. And so that is my hope for them to be able to bring the mathematics to their world, see themselves in the mathematics, and all of that together. I also hope that teachers gain, as I have through this amazing process, a broader sense of what elementary mathematics is and what the possibilities are for teaching and learning. Just going through this process, I've been able to see and hear students thinking and engage with teachers and allow them and see how they have been able to, just pay attention to the students and what they're thinking through every lesson that I've observed and every lesson that I've seen in the classroom so far. So it's been a really amazing process so far, and I really hope that it has a lasting impact on teachers and students. And I'm going to pass it along to Alex.
Thanks, Dion. When I really think about IMK5's impact, I think about the impact on students and helping them see that mathematics is not just a random series of numbers or calculations, but is a story that makes sense and is meaningful to their everyday lives. I know that is not something that I always saw when I was in school growing up, and being part of Illustrative Mathematics has really brought that out for me in an even bigger way than I saw before. And for teachers, I hope that the curriculum helps them see how mathematics is connected across the units and across the grade levels. I know working with the amazing people on this call, I have learned so much, and I'm so looking forward to seeing it out in the world and seeing the impact that it can have. Dr. Mike, what is your hope for the impact on teaching and learning?
Thanks, Alex. Well, one of my hopes is that our curriculum helps to see the entire classroom as a single learning community with a common goal of helping one another to understand mathematical ideas. And how does this happen? It happens by asking questions and listening carefully by each student listening carefully to what their classmate has to say, trying to understand their point of view, trying to explain their point of view and come to a consensus if there's a disagreement. And I think it's critical that in this community, every single student has an important voice. But if certain students aren't contributing, aren't sharing their ideas to move forward, or where they're struggling, if some students are silent, that's not good. That affects the entire classroom. We want a classroom where everybody is sharing. And one of the most important roles of the teacher, and a really difficult one, I think, is to encourage everybody to share, to find a moment for each student to get in and contribute in a way that makes them feel like an important part of that community. And now let me turn this over to Zach.
Thanks, Mike. One of the things with the curriculum is that it's really invitational, from the warm-ups to how we launch tasks. And one of the impacts for students is I hope that they see themselves as capable of really important mathematical thinking through how they're invited into tasks and invited into mathematics. And the impact for teachers is I hope they feel supported in how we support them in eliciting these ideas from students. I'm going to pass it along to Yenchi.
Thank you, Zach. I echo my colleagues' sentiments. For students, I hope that the curriculum builds their confidence as sense makers, that they would shift from relying on the teacher for knowledge to relying on their own habits of reasoning and on discussions, like what Mike was saying earlier. And that the curriculum offers experiences that would help them see math as meaningful and interesting and fun. And for teachers, my hope is that they see how much their students can do and the important role that they could play in helping students make connections. On a more pragmatic level, I hope that it gives teachers a worthwhile set of materials that would save them many, many hours of hunting for or writing high quality materials that are standards aligned, so that they can redirect their energy and attention to student thinking and to their own professional learning. I'm gonna turn it back to Bill.
K3 lead Marnie Greenstein and K2 writer Brianne Durst were unable to make it today, but they reflect on this question in the following video messages.
Hi, my name is Marnie Greenstein, and I was the K3 lead on the IM K5 curriculum. I am so excited to have the curriculum out in the world and to see the impact that it can have on students and teachers. For so long, I worked with teachers and heard from teachers who were pulling tasks from IM and trying to kind of cobble together their own curriculum. And so I think that this curriculum has the potential to really make an impact on teachers so that their time is spent not finding rich tasks, but really thinking about how to make those tasks meaningful and accessible for their students. I think the other exciting opportunity is that the curriculum can have an impact on students in terms of really seeing themselves as doers of mathematics.
I'm really excited for the impacts the IM K5 curriculum can have on teaching and learning, and I have a lot of hopes. My first hope is that the curriculum will help teachers to understand the content of the math that they're teaching more deeply and that it will help them to see the connection between the math they're teaching and the math of the previous grade, and that it will help them understand how what they're doing is preparing their students for the math of the coming grade. My second goal is that the curriculum will encourage teachers to reflect on their own teaching practices. Hopefully, teachers will have time to use our teacher reflection questions and spend time thinking about how they might be able to adapt and improve their current teaching practice in ways that will benefit their students. My third hope is that the curriculum will allow teachers to take a step back and let the students in the class be the ones to do the math. My biggest hope for the impacts on learning is that learners will begin to see themselves as capable problem solvers, that they'll critique the ideas of others, and that they'll understand that it's important to do that, and that they'll really enjoy doing mathematics.
Now let's watch a few members of the IM community share the impact they see that the curriculum has had on them and their students.
I'm Maureen O'Connell, math specialist at Paul F. Doyon Memorial School in Ipswich, Massachusetts. One of the things that I just think is so special about IM is its unique way of building a mathematical community. As a teacher of 25 years, I've always prided myself on having a great class community, but I never even considered building a mathematical community. I didn't really think of it, and I didn't have the skills or the information on how to do it until I started with IM. And now I feel like it's changed the way my students think of themselves. We're all members of a respectful, safe, caring, mathematical community where students feel comfortable sharing their thinking, agreeing or respectfully disagreeing, and just have fun doing what mathematicians do. So it's made all the difference.
Hi, I'm Benita Beavers. I am facilitator in Charlotte, North Carolina. One thing I love about, the many things I love about IMK5, is that it truly is invitational to every learner at every age. And when I say that, I mean that not only does it invite all students to learn from different angles, but it invites all teachers to learn from different angles. And that is super important.
Hello, I'm Andrea Higdon, the Elementary Math Instructional Lead in Jefferson County Public Schools in Louisville, Kentucky. One thing I love about IM is the intentionality with the number sense routines that open every lesson. These routines amplify every student's voice in the classroom by honoring all student ideas and focusing on the thinking. In Jefferson County, we have 3 pillars: equity, community, and deeper learning. Thanks, IM, for providing a resource completely in alignment with those, ensuring that all students learn math at high levels.
My name is Michael Ramirez, Senior Coordinator of Math Instruction for the Partnership for Los Angeles Schools within the LA Unified School District. There are many things to love about IM. One thing in particular that I love about IM is that it's a problem-based curriculum that goes beyond just teaching our students to just follow steps to solve math problems. One thing that I've noticed as we've implemented the IM curriculum is that it's in line with all of the latest math teaching and learning research, in that IM calls for teachers to be facilitators of learning, where students do the intellectual thinking, they're allowed to make connections, and it helps them to have really rich discourse about math. And that's how math concepts really go deep.
So we've been hearing a lot from the authors. So now it's time to hear from you. You'll get a chance to show us what you already know about the impact of IM K5 Math. And I'm going to hand it over to Alex, who's going to take you through a fun activity.
Hi again, everyone. So I put the link in the chat for how you can access our Pear Deck, and we are just going to go through a couple of things to learn more about everybody who's joining us, and also learn more about the impact of IM K5 Math. So I'll give you all a couple seconds to get set up. The first question is just going to be learning about all of you. We're talking about the impact of IM K5, and you all, everybody who's joining us, are part of that impact, and we're so excited that you could be here. So on this slide, if you can drag the flag to show where you are located. I know that we have folks from all over the country, and I'm excited to see all over the world as well. All right, I see a few more responses coming in. I'm going to switch over to show the responses. Oh, is it not working? Sorry about that. I am having technical trouble. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for 1 second and share my screen again. Here we are. So here we can see all of these responses, including some folks that we know who are joining us even from outside of the US. So we're seeing what a worldwide impact I am K-5 Math, but really all of you in your communities and schools are really having. And so that, I mean, having worked on this for so many years, that is so exciting to see. And now our next question, we know that part of our AM K-5 Math curriculum is also the professional learning that we go out and do with schools and districts. So you can see on this graph, here are the number of professional learning events for version 1 that we've already delivered. So for this task, you're going to draw and show what the bar looks like, complete the graph to show how many total events you think we have booked for professional learning. Even I was surprised by this number. We have been so blown away by the excitement and really just excited to get out there and work with everybody and see this in schools. Give a few more seconds. So we can see lots of different options, all the way to more than 2,500, 2,225. Oh, off the graph, I love that. And so we can see in our next slide, the total number is 2,297. So we know that our professional learning team has a really busy summer coming up. I'm sure that some of you guys have done professional learning already or are looking forward to it. And we're really looking forward to the impact that will have for teachers and then for students this fall. And then for this map, these maps show where is IM K-5 currently being used. So you can drag your dot to which map you think shows the purple states where we know that IM K-5 Math is being used at the moment. All right, let's see the responses. Oh, wow, we've got a lot. So actually, the map for K-5 version 1 is this map on the bottom. And so we've loved to see from our alpha pilot and then our beta pilot to now version 1, this map slowly expanding over the years and taking over the US, covering it in purple. And then our last question that we'd love for you to participate in is just write one word to describe your hope for the impact of IM K-5 Math, because I know that you are all invested in this and hoping for the impact just like we are. I am going to show the responses. I know we still have a few more coming in. Inspiration, engagement. Oh, I see a lot of themes. I always love that. Joy, empowerment. independence, inspiring. I know some of you, it's so hard for me to do these in one word, so I totally relate to those who could not pick one. Momentous. Wow, keep going, keep going. Empowering, a lot of empowering and engaging. Thank you all so much for participating and for being part of the impact of I Am K5 Math. And I'm going to turn it back to Bill.
Thanks, Alex. That was a fun activity, and it was great to see all of those dots covering the map at the beginning and see where everybody else is coming from. So next we have another message, a few messages from a few advisory board members.
Congratulations! Hi, IM team. My name is Allison Hintz, and I am an associate professor of mathematics education at University of Washington. And it has been such a joy to be on the advisory board and to watch you all give everything that you have, your heart, your soul, into creating these resources for young mathematicians and the adults in their lives to find wonder and beauty for mathematics and to see themselves in the mathematics that they're studying and coming to know and creating. Thank you for all of your hard work.
Wow, I'm so excited. So my name is Teddy Chow. I am an associate professor of mathematics education at The Ohio State University in Columbus, Ohio. I also happen to be, I think, a member of the advisory board for this amazing curriculum. And I've gotten to sort of see how it all came together over the last few years. I can't believe that Illustrative Math, the elementary version, K through 5, is here and it's ready, right? I mean, so many conversations I've had during this last pandemic year is there a curriculum that really meets all of our hopes and our dreams for what we know children can do in terms of engaging in mathematical thinking? And I think you've done this. I think that you have engaged children and teachers to know that they are powerful in mathematics. So thank you and congrats.
Hi, I am K5 Authors. It's Lisa Matthews, Math Education Specialist with Mathematically Connected Communities in New Mexico. I just wanted to take a minute to tell you how excited I am that we are here at the official launch of the I Am K5 curriculum. It's been an amazing collaborative journey that you all have been on together, and your work is going to impact countless students for years to come by providing them opportunities to engage daily in meaningful, coherent, and accessible grade level mathematics. Your work will also empower so many teachers by growing their pedagogical content knowledge because of the thoughtful, research-based trajectories and representations you included, as well as things like supporting the building of a classroom mathematical community and daily reflection questions. And as a 612 IMCF, I have to admit I'm a little jelly about those. I can only imagine what the next couple of years will be like for you as the IMK5 curriculum is adopted by so many districts around the country, and you get to see all the lovely fruits of this very intensive labor of love. And so from me, a huge thank you for this gift that you've given to the math education community, and well wishes for wherever your passions take you next.
So I think a cheers is in order. So cheers to the robust discussions that will be held throughout countless schools and throughout countless mathematical communities based upon the thinking that you guys will establish, you've established in your curriculum. Cheers to the established perseverance and beautiful struggle of both teachers and students. So they will persevere, they will learn to be comfortable as they think through and problem solve because of the work that you guys put forth. And last but not least, cheers to, this is the biggest one. Are you ready for it? Cheers to the joy of math. I'm preaching, no, I know. Cheers to the joy of mathematics that will be reinserted into the hearts and the minds of teachers and students throughout this country and countries, the countries abroad. So cheers are in order. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I love that joy of mathematics. That's the holy grail. So our next question for our authors from the IM community: what was the most challenging about writing the curriculum? And I'm going to ask Deborah to start us off.
Thanks, Bill. That's an easy one. It was, I would have to say, the most challenging part was deciding what made the cut. We had to choose the tasks and the representations that told the right story, and sometimes we were a little attached. So shout out to Mike Henderson, who helped keep me from living in the weeds and hanging out in rabbit holes, helped bring me back often. And I think all of us went through looking at all of the tasks that we had created and activities and lessons. Some of them were so great, but we had to let them go. And the decisions that we made were so important, because when we looked around and thought about who could make the final decision, it was us. We held this power. So we had to be so careful and so intentional. It was a lot of pressure. We just wanted to get it right. So with every iteration, we had to get rid of some things, but it was replaced with even better things. And in the end, so much was gained. And there is this beautiful story. It's a coherent story being told by the mathematics. So it was well worth it, but it was definitely the most challenging part of writing this curriculum. And with that, I am so excited that I get to hand it off to Sarah Barra, our first grade lead. What was most challenging for you? Unmute, my friend.
Of course, I'm sorry about that, everybody. Hi, everybody, I'm Sarah. I was the grade 1 lead author for IM K5 Math, and I am currently IM certified facilitator, and I actually just finished facilitating a professional learning event before joining this celebration. The most challenging component of writing the curriculum was thinking about mathematics in different ways, and I had already done so. Each of us came onto the team with different experiences with learning and thinking about mathematics. Luckily, since we had such an amazing team, we were able to discuss different perspectives and ideas to complete a story that is coherent. Choosing representations that would support the story was challenging too. Thinking that we would need this representation somewhere in the story, but then find out that it really was not needed was definitely a challenge. As Deborah said, letting things go that you were just so passionate about, and now just thinking about, wow, this is so much better, that we didn't even need that representation. So that was definitely a challenge for me. What about you, Dion?
So yes, this is well, not a tough question, but definitely a challenge. Thank you, Sarah. Most challenging was, but necessary, what were our discussions about race when deciding how to design supports for culturally responsive pedagogy. Many of us had not been in settings where we had open discussions about race, especially not at work. And so it was really helpful to have a variety of voices on the team. Shout out to Professor Todd Tate. Okay, he's not a professor, but, but he did profess a lot. And so he was our project manager, who was not only pivotal on our team for getting our project completed. So shout out to the completion date. But also he helped strengthen our conversations with his wonderful insight. So I wanted to make sure we shouted him out. Thank you, Todd. But even more challenging was supporting the writing process for contexts that represented ethnically diverse populations. And because we wanted to make sure that we didn't trivialize any cultures or write mathematical situations that were inauthentic, right? So we didn't want to have like, let's just count trivial things that represent a culture because, okay, we're just counting. But we wanted to make sure that students can go back to their communities and use what they learn in the classroom and think about the mathematics that they learn in the classroom as they go along in their community. So the idea is, can we bring students' communities into the curriculum? And of course, as a national curriculum, we can't do that for all cultures and all students. But what we could do is make sure that we're not just representing a one-sided view of what mathematics engagement looks like And so we really try to bring in ethnically diverse cultures as much as we could in the timeline that we had. Obviously, we can do much more. And so look out for more iterations, hopefully, crossing fingers. But we're really excited for the work that we did. We did the research, we had discussions, we made tons of revisions, and we ended up something to be truly proud of. So thank you, team. And Yenchi, what was most challenging for you?
Thanks, Dion, and I second everything that you said. What was most challenging? Can I say a whole lot of it? To me, the complexity and the scope of the project were all very challenging. To build on what Sarah and Deborah said earlier, coming to an understanding and a decision about what to include and how to do it and what would work best for students and for teachers was far from straightforward. So there were so many voices and experiences and considerations, both internal and external, to account for. Also, the curriculum has so many components that need to work together, and coordinating all the pieces, many of which would often move, and making sure that they present as a coherent whole was quite challenging given the number of people involved and the constraints of the project. And I guess above all, to do that during a pandemic was also not easy. So Mike, what about you?
Thank you, Yenchi. A lot of what I have to say, I think, is going to echo exactly what you've said. Although the first thing is a little bit different. So one of the things I found incredibly challenging with this curriculum writing was the constant need to compromise. And I mean, because we want the perfect warm up, followed by the perfect first activity and a perfect second activity and a perfect cool down. You always want things to be perfect. And occasionally you're able to get out something that you really think is perfect. But most often, right, the way toward perfection exists up here. And what you need to do as a curriculum writer is get something out there that's good, that's solid. And then when there's a chance to revise down the road, you make improvements. And then incrementally, you work towards that ideal of perfection. But as a writer going through this first rounds of writing, you have to just get out the best you can. And that's sometimes frustrating. And then the other place where I thought compromise was essential, this is echoing what Yenchi just said, and it's dealing with just so many different and important points of view on the project. And those different points of view can be points of view of different writers, right? You don't always agree with your partners about what's best here or there, and it's not always easy to come to a consensus. And then there's also different issues that you need to consider that are sometimes conflicting. As there's pedagogical issues, there's mathematical concerns, there's the concern of equity. And trying to embody all of these simultaneously is sometimes just really, really difficult. And with that, let me pass things back to Bill.
Thanks, Mike, and everybody. So we've heard about all the things that were challenging, but things that are challenging can also be empowering. And so now I want to hear from some teachers and leaders in the IM community.
My name is Catherine Castillo. I'm the Elementary Numeracy Coordinator for Springfield Public Schools in Springfield, Missouri. What makes IM unique is that it uses a strengths-based model for uncovering student understanding so that every student can find success and enter into grade level mathematics. Many other curriculum programs exclude students from conversations from the get-go because they focus on student deficits, misconceptions, or offer only one solution path. IM helps teachers uncover student understanding so that they can use their craft and expertise to select and connect student strategies and help all students find success in grade level mathematics regardless of past experiences or gaps in learning.
Hello, my name is Amy Bork. I am a fourth grade teacher at Sergeant Bluff Luton Elementary School in Sergeant Bluff, Iowa. What makes IM unique is how it naturally builds in number sense and conceptual understanding at all levels with all students. It meets every child where they're at and allows the child to grow from that point forward. IM is unique. It is the only curriculum that brings all of the components together so that all students, no matter their background, their culture, their experience can be successful mathematicians down the road?
Because of IMK5, I am now a authentic listener as a classroom teacher. I never mastered that before. I am now listening to my students think. I'm making them think in visual, and then I'm using what they've shown me to inform everything I do. My students have now flipped that and in turn become better listeners and communicators with one another. And what that has shown in my classroom is that now my students feel valued and they're now learning more from each other than they did from me. How amazing is that? Because of IMK5, I have transformed my mathematics teaching practices. It has transformed my classroom, and now math is the best part of my school day.
So now for our final question to the authors. How does the curriculum intend to empower teachers and students? And I'm going to ask Sarah to lead us off now. And possibly to unmute as well.
Thank you, Bill. The design of the curriculum empowers both teachers and students. Teachers are empowered to be facilitators of learning. The curriculum offers teacher support so that students at different levels of understanding can learn within their learning trajectory, and the teachers have tools at their fingertips right within the curriculum. As for students, my hope is that they are empowered as thinkers and doers of mathematics. Even concepts that they perceive as hard, they are invited into their mathematics and are able to persevere because of this invitation. I'm going to hand it off to Noelle.
Thanks, Sarah. The curriculum empowers teachers to learn about math teaching and learning, including student thinking, content, and pedagogy. The curriculum pushes teachers to think about who's participating, who's good at math, and how to invite all students into the classroom conversation. I also hope that students feel that their ideas are at the heart of our work and that their thinking is the most important part of the classroom. I'm going to turn it over to Dion.
Hi, now that I'm muted, thank you. Yes, the curriculum empowers students. The curriculum empowers students and teachers to really think through what they're engaging in and trust in their students as well. And I am all about trust. Because of the problem-based nature of the curriculum, we are always starting with student ideas about a particular mathematical problem. We are open, once we are open to student ideas and allow student perspectives in, we can see that the teacher isn't always right. The students aren't limited to only one way of thinking about a solution. And developing ideas are then valued. And once they're verbalized, they can contribute towards a more collaborative solution. And everybody can learn from that. And I can't think of anything that's more empowering. Now I'm going to pass it off to Deborah.
Hi again. I'm going to jump in and just express my gratitude for the brilliance of the design, because the design supports teachers as they develop their content knowledge, and it also supports them as they learn how children learn mathematics. So one way to help shift mindsets and beliefs is to have people reflect. So the reflection questions support that powerful way of making that shift for teachers. And then students are empowered because they get the chance to learn through exploration, discovery, and collaboration. It's so important that they learn from one another. And it is clear that the teacher is not the only expert in the room. Students develop agency as individuals, but they also develop collective agency as they realize that together they're smarter. They learn to use their voices, and they learn to work together as a math community where we've leveled the playing field and all ways of thinking and bringing your whole self to the mathematics is honored and recognized. They are empowered to learn together and lead together. And with that, I'll pass it on to Zach.
Thanks, Deborah. We did a lot of work while we were writing the curriculum at all stages of anticipating student thinking, whether it was on writing a task and thinking about what will students do with this, or whether it was thinking about student responses. And really that was all around just empowering students, because it's really much of their thinking that drives the learning that happens in lessons. So I hope that students will be empowered in that way, in terms of really seeing their thinking drive what's happening in the classroom. And teachers, I hope it empowers them too, because it really supports them anticipating student thinking and really using student thinking to drive home the mathematical point of each lesson.
Great, thanks, Zach. And we have one more video message from Kanika, our grade 4 lead.
Teaching is challenging. The path to understanding is arduous, and it is winding. Teaching involves spaces where we advocate for every student to have access and to develop and exercise agency. That is just to be able to be exposed to grade level aligned materials. And as an educator, I am parched by the arid landscape of elementary math curriculum. The teachers I serve are thirsting for resources that illustrate the changes that we're fighting so hard to see in our systems. We want more for our students. And knowing that we have developed a curriculum with this reality in mind, and how we've been so intentional in the design of the curriculum to ensure that it reflects the coherence and the rigor of the standards, gives me hope. It doesn't just leave me hopeful, but it also leaves me empowered to empower others who are in this with me. Free resources available to all teachers for all students that have been crafted with such care and intentionality. I see the elementary curriculum as a catalyst for change in our communities, and I'm excited to be a part of that journey as the school year starts.
Well, that was wonderful to hear from Kanika. So we're coming to the end now. I want to conclude with a few thoughts. As the late Dr. Maya Angelou once said, we delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty. So we've been through many changes on this journey at IM. We learned a lot about how to manage a complex curriculum writing project. We also learned a lot from our community, our IM community of users. We value listening at IM, and we continue to grow as an organization in our ability to make sure that different people feel free to speak up and different voices are heard and listened to. So now that this beautiful butterfly has been released into the world, we intend to continue the work of making sure that all students not only have access to our curriculum, but to a classroom where that curriculum is implemented with our integrity. Our community will be with us as we learn and grow towards that beautiful goal, a world where all learners know, use, and enjoy mathematics. So I want to spend a special thank you to our senior leadership team, Brandy, Kate, Olivia, Carl, Chris, and Kristen, who continuously lead our organization to achieve its mission. I also want to give a special thanks to our exclusive providers of IM K5 Math, our IM certified partners, Kendall Hunt and LearnZillion. IM certified partners offer multiple versions of the IM K12 math curriculum, and this is IM's way of reaching teachers and students from a wide variety of districts who may be looking for those different options, while assuring that as these versions evolve, they will stay true to the original design. I want to give a special thank you to Director of Strategic Initiatives, Dion Aminata, for organizing today's event, Creative Services Manager, Carrie Duncan, for her design work and creative support, and our new VP of Marketing, Brandy Tyler, for her leadership in getting this webinar series off to a great start with a record-setting over 1,000 people signed up today. And also special thanks to our moderators. I am certified facilitator Latoya Bird, and I am facilitator Kelly Nogar, and our VP of Product Strategy, Kate Nowak, for facilitating the Q&A. This is the first of a series of webinars, so please stay connected with us to learn more about our upcoming events. No, really, thank you. To connect with us, you can explore our website, illustrativemathematics.org, and follow us on social media. Don't forget to add the hashtag LearnWithIM when you share your thoughts on Twitter and Facebook. And thank you everybody for attending.